Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today I want to talk about a stock by the name of Hiru Corp. Now, you're going to see the price here, 0.0032. And if you're thinking to yourself, this is ridiculous, why would I buy a stock at that price? And you're already questioning everything, I would probably recommend jumping off the video. Because the reality is, and I want to make this very clear before we proceed, penny stocks are extremely volatile, they are extremely risky, and I try to stress that in the videos that I make on this channel. That being said, you have to always consider the potential returns if you're going to actually buy these stocks. So that's the idea, is like you're taking a substantial risk for a potential substantial return. I just want to make that clear. And in full transparency, as a disclosure, I do own over 2 million shares of this stock right now. Now, you can say whatever you want about me making this video, and if you think I'm trying to do something with the price or whatever, I could care less. If you buy this stock or sell this stock, it's on you. I just want to make that very clear, because we have to make the best decisions for ourselves, and this is not advice by any means, whether you should buy or sell this stock. I just want to give my opinion on what I think could be a tremendous opportunity, and one that could result in a much higher share price. So, that being said, let's get into it, guys. Hiru Corp. Now, let's look at this chart. Okay, so first things first, this got up to, if we look at the most recent history on the chart, just going back to 0.0051. Now we're trading right now at 0.0032 roughly. So zooming out more on the chart, I want to go back even further. Check this out. Going up to, this is 2023. I want to even go back to 2021. Check this out, guys. This thing got over 3 cents per share in a single trading day. So this shows you the possibility. I'm betting this is on high volume. It looks like, it was on decent volume. It wasn't on anything crazy. But look at this. 0.0350. So they got up to that price very briefly. It also traded above 1 penny for a long time after that. This is over 1 cent per share still. So, 1 to 3 cents basically, very, very quickly. Now, I've seen penny stocks that have gone from where this stock's trading right now to 50 plus cents per share, to $1 per share. I've seen this happen. And that's what is so crazy about these penny stocks, is because typically with the OTC markets, which is where this penny stock trades, it's called the OTCmarkets.com. This company is in the process. We're going to get into all the details in this video about what this company is doing and where they're going. But basically, when it comes to these OTC stocks, the volume and the liquidity is much lower. So that being said, you have a much lower chance of getting into a trade and getting out of a trade successfully. So it's much riskier to make those large moves. So if you have a 6-figure position that you've built in a penny stock, maybe the stock's gone up a lot, maybe you actually have a position you want to sell. Well, now you have a problem, because if there's not a large enough volume pool while you're trying to dump the stock, especially if you try to do it all at once, then you might run into trouble. But oftentimes what will happen is that these penny stocks will experience large price booms. And with those price booms, what happens is essentially the stock goes parabolic and the supply of stock dries up. So there's a large increase in demand due to some type of circumstance. And we've seen many penny stocks on the OTC markets back in 2020, 2021 go to over $1 billion plus market caps. I can count dozens of them. If we actually go back and look at the numbers and look at an example of AABB, for example, ticker symbol AABB, Asia Broadband, that one went from under a penny. I had a chance to buy over 1 million shares of that stock, and it went up to over 50 cents per share, or over $1 billion in market cap relatively quickly at the end of 2021. From nothing, from under 1 cent per share, where this one is trading right now. So that's the crazy part about these penny stocks and how fast you can lose money. If you guys have seen some of my previous videos, going back to 2021, you know that you can make and lose a lot of money with penny stocks. You were probably watching my videos back then, and you probably saw that, right? So I just want to stress that, okay? That being said, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this thing. What is Hiru? So I've actually talked about this stock back in 2022. And this is a company. Let's just go straight to OTC Markets and look at the company profile, because this is actually recently updated information, and this is all coming to us at once. Now, the first thing I want you to see here is this stock promotion. Let's get this out of the way. Stock promotion. The security is currently undergoing promotional activity. Now, this could be from pretty much any source out there. It could be basically, so if you click on what a stock promotion is, it basically means that something's going on where the stock is being promoted. There could be some type of email promotion going on. There could be something behind the scenes we don't know about, some type of advertising campaign for the stock. But basically, it'll fall off 15 days following the end of a stock's promotion. So it's really nothing to concern yourself with. I just want to bring that up because some people would get concerned about that. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at, first of all, you can take a look at how many shares outstanding. This company has 3.8 billion. So you're working with a rather large share structure. I've seen these types of stocks run, especially these types of trip to multi-penny type runs. I've definitely seen this dozens of times on the OTC, if not many more times. I mean, I can count dozens of times, but I know for a fact it's happened more than that, where these stocks will go from, say, 0.003, and then you can move over a couple decimal places, 0.03, 0.3 even, all the way to 30 cents. That would be a 100x. So even though this has a larger share structure, you might be saying 3.8 billion shares outstanding. Well, at 10 cents, you're talking over a $380 million market cap. Now, let's actually get into this, though. So this right here is our new company officers and contacts. Now, let's go over the business description because this was just updated recently. Hiru is a holding company headquartered in Toronto, Canada Financial District. Hiru board members and control block holders are in Qatar and Australia. The company is primarily engaged in exploration stage mining in a massive Belfour mine project in Australia, which is its core business. The main investors are a Qatari royal family member and a seventh generation, one of the wealthiest landlords in Tasmania. So that's definitely interesting. Like I said, this was all updated recently. We have new board and directors. Look at the CEO. You can look up their holding group. They actually have their own holding group. This has over 640 followers right now on LinkedIn. Basically, it's a diversified conglomerate of companies based out of Dubai, I believe, or based out of Qatar, based out of, I believe, yeah, so if that's Dubai right there, I think. Yeah, Al Saad. So that's in Qatar, I believe. If we look up the actual address of where this holding group is, Al Saad, Qatar, near Dubai. So this is the real deal. They have the address, they have the LinkedIn page. Now we're starting to get a little bit deeper into what's going on here. So basically, this is going to be a copper mine. I think they're also getting into gold mining. And so this used to actually be a water company. When I talked about this company on my channel in 2022, Hiru was actually a water company. They were trying to, and they were actually doing pretty good revenue. From my understanding, if we look at the financials, like for 2023, 3.8 million. It's not fantastic, but for a publicly traded company doing 3.8 million, but nonetheless, they still did revenue. Okay, now they're switching their business model entirely around. And what I want to get into now are actually the filings and what's happening behind the scenes. If you look at this Form D, for example, the first thing you'll see is the date on here. This was filed on August 16th, 2024. Now, if we look at this, take a look at some of these names on here. You can see the executive officers and stuff like this. But really, let's get into what this is right here. So what is it telling us? The issuer size, and all that kind of stuff. We have business combination transaction. It looks like what they're doing here is they're actually offering $10 million. And so there's a Form D offering up to $10 million that they're trying to sell. They're trying to raise money up to $10 million. That's the first thing. So we take a look at this and we say, okay, they're trying to raise money. Apparently we have a company, I believe, that's doing 1 to 5 million right now. It says issuer size. So you can kind of look at the different specifications, but it looks like they are trying to raise $10 million via a Form D securities offering. Exempt. That's the key. Look up what a Form D offering means. It basically is an exempt securities offering. That was in August. I'm sorry. Now let's go on to another 8K that came out here. Okay, so this is the Securities and Exchange Commission 8K current report. If we look down at here and we can see that we're actually changing governance and management. So on July 23rd, Hiru Corporation signed stock purchase agreement and operational agreement, which both reflected in the change in control of the company. So old preferred shareholder Sasa Vasilijevic has been appointed as an independent director, as well as Jeffrey Summers. Now, Jeffrey Summers does have experience in the mining industry. If you look his name up, you can see the connection between him and mining. So there's also a new preferred shareholder and control holder, Sahaim Chakran Ep-Bu Ali, if I pronounced that right. So we also have departure of directors or certain executive directors. So basically, we have a change in control. That's the main thing you have to keep in mind here with this 8K that was filed with the SEC. We have a change in control. We have the registrant's address, which is the West Palm Beach. I actually called this number, and the person who answered said they were a secretary for the company. So you guys can call that number if you want. Check it out, for yourself and do your own due diligence. But this is basically a change of control of the company, okay? So that's the 8K. If we move on here, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting. 13G, Securities and Exchange Commission, Truist Financial Group. Now, this actually just came out. This is a more recent one. So Truist Financial Group is actually investing over 123 million shares. Now, for them, that's practically nothing. They're over a $50 billion company. In fact, if you look up Truist Bank right now, you can see here that the stock itself is trading at over $42 per share, and it's at a $57 billion market cap. So this is no joke for a large company to actually be buying over 100 million shares. Now, like I said, for them, it's nothing. But it's still cool to think that there's a large bank interested in buying shares in this company. It makes you wonder, about the new owners of this company. Based out of Dubai, based out of Qatar, based out of this royal family that we, heard about even in the profile on OTC markets. That's going to be basically a mining company, and hopefully an international mining company that expands globally and is a large mining company, an established mining company one day that can compete on a global scale. So we have basically the principal executive offices, Truist Financial Group. This is even signed by the vice president or one of the vice presidents for Truist Financial Corp. So over 120 million shares bought from Truist. Now, there's been some questions about the class of shares and if it's going to be the same class as the common, because if you do the math, actually 10.6% of the common shares, that does not add up because there's over 3.8 billion shares outstanding. So then the question becomes, well, are they going to cancel some shares, maybe buy some shares out of the float? How big could this be, right? So then you start to get into some really exciting possibilities, and keep in mind, this is all speculation. But if they start doing share cancellations and share buybacks or anything like that, that could be a very bullish thing for the stock. Typically, investors view that as favorably, especially on the OTC. A lot of traders love that stuff because it's not seen very often. Okay, so that's the next thing. 123 million shares bought by Truist Financial Group. Big boy bank, over $50 billion market cap. All right, so now we have, if we go here, I think we may have already read this. Let's see here. So an 8K, this was on September 3rd. This is a new 8K, it looks like. So it has basically, Hiru Corporation is engaged, let me zoom in here just a little bit, is engaged in an active partnership mining concession arrangement with concession rights for the Balfour project in western Tasmania. Hiru has exclusive rights to explore, develop, and exploit the mineral resources with an estimated in situ value of $191.5 million to $446.7 million. So they're filing this with the Securities and Exchange Commission, anticipating a potential value of the mineral resources or the assets on the mine, basically, of 191.5 million AU to 446.7 million. In US dollars, that would be the equivalent, if we look at, let's see here, to USD. Get rid of the dollar sign, maybe. AUD to USD. So that'd be about $300, or in this case, $300 million is what they're valuing this at. Up to $300 million. So if you assume, even with the current share structure, the value of the mining assets potentially, or the mineral resources, with this project could be worth up to $300 million. Then you can start to get in some market cap projections. And, if there's a lot of optimism in the market, what could that do to the share price and stuff like that? Because we've seen this pattern before. And I tell people all the time, if you want to make money in these stocks, the best way to do so is to simply buy them when they're cheap and wait for them to go up. And it sounds really crazy, but the reality is, if you want to make money, you have to buy low and sell high. It's the golden rule of investing. So buy these stocks cheap. That's why I bought over 2 million shares under half a penny, and I'm happy. And I'll keep my shares and I'll wait for the run. If it never happens, then I'll accept the loss. It's a risk you take, right? I'm not betting the entire farm on this necessarily, but I have over 2 million shares, and I'm happy with my position. And if it goes up to 5 cents, well, then maybe I could pay off my mortgage, or a good chunk of it. Let's just say that. So with that being said, we have these filings that are looking pretty good. Okay, so Avery Nickel Mine having the rights to 30 million shares. A lot of different dealings here kind of going on. Mr. Jeffrey Summers talking about how he's been a business entrepreneur and how he's been associated with these different projects. He sold out of the Avery Nickel project in 2020. The Balfour Copper Field, kind of going over his experience and stuff. And then we have the Chief Executive Officer signature on this Form 8K. So that's interesting. Then we have a change in control, 13G. So this, we talked about the bank, but this is actually from Khalid Nasser Al Thani, remember? The group, right? So it's the same exact name there on the filing, but it's also, if you look at the CEO, chairman of the board, same person, right? So we are looking at 1.194 billion shares bought. Over 30% of the class bought Hiru, right? So pretty much nearly 1.2 billion shares bought by the new CEO. So they are dropping. And if you look at, the actual value of their shares at the current price of Hiru, you can do the math on that and see that they currently have, or they've currently invested over nearly a $4 million stake. Now, this is worth more recently when the price was higher. It was worth recently over $5 million. But nonetheless, it shows you that these people have skin in the game. They're not joking around. They dropped, basically $5 million, or maybe whatever price they paid for it, $4 million, $3 million, whatever. The point is, they're not joking around, right? They bought 30% of the class, almost 1.2 billion. So they're just dropping millions of dollars in here, basically, which is crazy, right? If you do the math on the current, price and everything, that would be the equivalent of dropping 4 to 5 million in here like it's nothing. So on top of that, we have additional funding. Now, I wanted to get into that as well. So if you go over to the news for Hiru, if we can find out where this news is on here, go to news, and then we can look at the 3 to 5 million in funding. So what I want to find right now actually is Hiru announces additional 3 to 5. This just came out. So additional cash injection, up to additional $3 to $5 million directly for mining operations. So the CEO is increasing stake ownership, and then it talks about the same CEO we were just reading about who bought 1.2 billion shares. Sheikh Khalid Nasser Al Thani, member of the royal family of Qatar, chairman and CEO of Hiru, has decided to immediately start funding the company with another round of $3 to $5 million, thus increasing his stake ownership in the mine. The investment will be made directly into the company, where the company will be able to purchase additional equipment and resources to speed up the development of operations. Sheikh Khalid Nasser Al Thani, chairman and CEO, stated, "We repeat, we are well funded to carry the mining operations. The 5-year projection was based on current resources available to the company. Obviously, with the cash infusion, the company can acquire the equipment needed and start immediately speeding up the start date." So, and I think this is kind of just the beginning. So we're already seeing a $10 million offering. We're already seeing Truist Bank investing. We're already seeing, potentially big names coming in here. If you look up the Qatar family, so it would be what? 335 billion, I believe. Okay, so if this is legit, if this actually checks out, and it looks like based upon the address and the paper trail and everything and the name, that this looks pretty legit, okay? Even the address on this page right here, the exact same name of the CEO, out there in Dubai, where all those guys hang out, Okay, so right next to Dubai. This is interesting, right? So then we also have the fact that gold and silver are going up, and that's another thing. So here's a press release that came out yesterday about basically a preliminary feasibility scoping study for the Balfour project in Tasmania. So they kind of go over some numbers in this. I encourage you to read through this. They also just recently posted a research report. This research report kind of goes over, it includes sources with different projections in terms of the life cycle of the mine and in terms of potential for copper and specifically Australian copper. And total copper exports from Australia in 2023 were valued at more than $12.5 billion. So it kind of gives you an idea of the market they're going for. You know, even if they get a small chunk of that market, they could be sitting very pretty. There's a lot of copper going out of Australia, and with a viable mine project, this could be very lucrative. Now, there could be additional mining projects coming down the line, especially with how well funded this is already. We have a $10 million offering. We have an additional $3 to $5 million cash injection. We have a CEO who's already invested with over almost 1.2 billion shares, a multi-million-dollar stake already. We have Truist Bank, a large $50 billion plus bank buying shares in this company. So we have a lot of positive things going on. Now, some of the risk, right? Well, I mean, obviously penny stocks are volatile. We know that the share price can go down. We know that this thing could turn out to be a total scam. There could be some puppet masters behind the scenes, and the rug's pulled, and we've seen this story before. So I just want to have you consider that, because nothing is ever guaranteed in the stock market. Although this looks very optimistic on paper, everything looks good, talking about how much copper Australia's making and how they're going to do this mine, and they have all this money that's coming into the stock. Keep in mind that buyers and sellers ultimately determine the price of the stock. And so what you need really is demand. And you need, like right now, even though we have all this great news coming out, you could argue, we're still down 1.27%. Why is that? There's a lot of retail traders out there trading back and forth between each other. And so if we look at a stock like AABB, for example, trading down right now over 10% for whatever reason, probably on some retail volume, maybe some bad news came out. I don't know what happened. But go back, over the last 5 years. Go back to 2021. Go back to see where this stock was trading at when I had the chance to buy almost over 1 million shares of this stock under a penny and ride this thing to the moon, but didn't pull the trigger. These are the types of opportunities that exist on the OTC, right? So when you're thinking about a company that is under 1 cent per share, but could have the potential to go up to 50 plus cents in a very short period of time, even 30 cents, which would still be a ridiculous profit if you had over 1 million shares in a stock like this. The possibility is there. And this also has over 2 billion shares outstanding. So the possibility for these larger share structure type stocks to run big is there. Like I said, guys, I've seen this song and dance before. I've seen it so many times. If you look back at Alp stock was a big one that happened back in 2021. This is split adjusted, but back then it traded at 4 cents a share, and I bought the shares. I sold way too early, probably like right here on the chart. It ended up going to $8 per share from 5 cents per share. Another one, right? If we look at TSP, probably the most famous one out there. This one traded at 0.0001. It actually is now humble. Now, this stock is pretty much at zero now, but that's why it's so important to take profits on these things when they go up. Because if you notice, right, under a penny, all the way up, split adjusted to $6 a share. Absolutely insane return. This is why people buy penny stocks, right? This is why we talk about penny stocks. We don't talk about penny stocks because we're going to flip them the next day for 20% and you're going to make a day trade out of it, right? We're talking about this because we're playing the lottery. We're buying lotto tickets and we want to hit the jackpot. That's why we talk about these stocks, and that's the risk you're taking. So I just want everybody to understand that. With that being said, this is some of the information that I'm kind of uncovering as I maintain an investment in this company. There's StockTwits, there's Investors Hub. You can check out a lot of things. You can check out, for example, if you type in Hiru on StockTwits, you can see kind of what people are talking about. So people are talking a lot about, what's going on here. Truist Company owns 123 million shares. we're going for a ride to the top, right? So there's some different perspectives, right? Some people are very bearish on the stock. A lot of people, though, recently have been more bullish. If you kind of look at the sentiment of the stock, you can see that. But I'll leave it at that, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys are all having a great day. Once again, this is just for entertainment purposes. This is just for entertainment / informational purposes, whatever you want to call it. But if you decide to buy or sell this stock, ultimately it's on you. So I just want to leave that out there. And yeah, God bless you guys. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.